was saying hello in this area. Did you see something here?
This view, I mean, look at this.
No, on this side.
Yeah.
On that side.
I wish the roads in Gambia were like this.
Oh yeah. Ay, naku.
I wish the roads in Gambia were like this. Especially the ones in the village,
Yeah.
you know.
Dusty na, bumpy pa.
It's not. Look, like I always suggested, just gravel so that the water will not accumulate. Car. Two cars. All right,
Careful. There's a car. Left and right.
just gravel. And if you put down the gravel, lay down the gravel so that the water can flow. There will be no lakes in the road. But you know, there is no gain in building good roads and for the people who like the village chiefs and all. There's no gain in building good roads. There's no gain. They build good roads, then the people can get out. And they don't want that. Not in Gambia, well, whole of Africa. They built one road per year in every state in Africa. Africa would be, I mean, just look at what's going on now. Just the few roads that are being built, how things are expanding, how quickly things are changing.
Darling, why is it like that color? Well, this here, I can see it, that's red.
The program, it can't program for all the colors. It can always so in some colors it would be a lot brighter and some it would be darker, especially at different times of the day. So because the camera on this, the lens on this, it cannot absorb all the light. The lens not big enough to absorb, you know. So they have to kind of look at it and build a program that can do the best. What a view. I don't know. Maybe I gotta look at this more, cause
You see? No?
yeah, it looks darker than it should.
Which way?
Well, villages along. Whoa. Yeah, you can go through there and come up in the back too. Wow, all those trees. We're gonna keep on going on walk back up. Almost sunset on the mountain, that is. I was sitting here looking, watching the clouds as they drift. You know, the wind here, sometimes it's very breezy, strong winds, sometimes it's not. Oh, okay. But let's go back 20 years from today. Oh, you got one? All right. 20 years ago, I saw America getting into a war. And at the time, I thought to myself, that the crash was imminent. But then I saw Russia and China voted with America. And it surprised me because I thought Russia and China would not stand by and let that happen. Let what was going on not happen, but let it take place. Let America do what it was doing. But today, well, not even today, not long after the war in Iraq started, I began to see why they allowed the US to do what it was doing. And why did I say that now? Because of those Angel airplanes. They're all painted white and they're all doing this one job. Flying cash or weapons into Iraq and Afghanistan. And I when I say cash, you can imagine you're sitting on an airplane, you just boarded the airplane. And on those large airplanes, you always see these silver cans that they pull up and push in the belly of the airplane. I'm talking about cans like that, and some twice, 3 times the size. Filled with $100 bills. And then I learned that those $100 bills were going to Iraq to pay people. They were paying people all over the Middle East, Afghanistan, and right next door to Russia, all those countries. The money was just going through them. Most of it ended up in London. But by 2008 now, they were having this, what they call a housing crisis. And the funny thing is that they knew it was going to happen. Actually, the planners knew it was going to happen. But they thought they had control over it. They were trying to get rid of Lehman Brothers. Because of this cabal that they all work together. And when one takes a fall, the other all come together to support it. And the time before that, there was something going on that Lehman didn't get involved in. They said, no. We're not putting up the money anymore on this. And 2006, they took out Lehman. The plan was in place, take out Lehman. That's just what they did. But after they took out Lehman, they couldn't stabilize the system. And China and Russia knew what they were doing. My goodness, now. And I should always be looking at countries like that. They always have eyes on everything and have people in places where they know what's going to happen. They can look forward, especially today when AI, you can just put the information you got and it will tell you this is more likely going to happen than. But anyway, China had let them, allowed them to go in and spend all the money that they could borrow. As a matter of fact, China was helping to lend them money, knowing what's going to happen. And then in the end, China stepped up to the plate and bailed out the banks. China bought a huge amount of US bonds to bail out US banks. But then Obama turned around and did what he called a pivot to the east. Because China started making some moves that they never thought China would do. China would follow them into wherever they go. Whatever they did, China would go along with it. That's the thinking. And they thought Russia had no choice but to go along with what they were doing because it was weak. Not knowing that the person who was dealing with in Russia knew America and the West very well. And he does not, he will make it appear like he's going into something blinded. But then when it happens, he show you the receipts and say, you see, I know it's going to happen. That's why I did this. And the instance is like, he wanted to join, Putin said, come to the EU and said, let's Russia join the EU. EU said, no, 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 no. You can't join the EU. Because they had plans to take down Putin. Take down Russia, actually. Divide up Russia. And this is not a plan that's proposed today. This plan goes back to the 1700s. The rest of Europe wanted to take down Russia. And at one time, they almost did. Napoleon and then Adolf Hitler, they both failed. Never expecting the Russian people to be so resilient. But Obama, he tried the political way and the financial way with China. And then he said, nah, this is not working. We got to stop this war in Iraq, Afghanistan, stop the war against Iran, pivot to the east, and confront China militarily. And that's what he did. Now the policy of U.S. changed from going along and trying to pull China in financially and getting rid of the Communist Party in China and make it like England and France and Germany who are going to follow America's lead. But China wasn't having any of that. So, fast forward today. That policy change that Obama did is what led to what Trump is trying to deal with today. The money that Bush and all of the people before him spent in the Middle East and in Central Asia and in North Africa. It's what Trump is trying to deal with today. Trump is trying to pull together a coalition that is going to ride with America. Because eventually China is going to pull all of Africa, all of Central and Western Asia. And if Russia stays with China, almost all of Europe, what they call Europe, but it's still West Asia. So America is going to have North America, Canada, and you see he's trying to take away Greenland from the Dutch. And hopefully South and Central America. But when Asia is secured, guess what's going to happen to Central America and South America? They're going to look around and say, hey, we can't afford to buy stuff from America. We got to go China and Asia. So that's going to fall. We're looking at about 8 years before this kind of this mountain starts sliding, this landslide. Right now you're just seeing the cracks in the road where people are moving from one side to the other. But when the real landslide starts, when the land starts moving, that's when the choices have to be made. And if Trump can't do it in 4 years, when the Democrats come in, they're going to have to continue doing what Trump's doing because there's no alternative. They didn't want to do it in the beginning. When they were in before Trump, between the two Trump's administration, they didn't want to continue the way that Trump has started pushing, the direction that Trump has started pushing. Confronted China economically, monetarily. If they had done that, China's economy would be struggling. They might have come out of it, but it would take a while. But the economy would be more of a struggle now. But now, China pretty much, they're not going to come out unscathed. But if America take away Europe, what they call Europe, Western Asia, the EU, because they started going to China. That's why Germany was wrecked. If America takes away the EU and some of South America, when the Chinese start looking around, they're going to go into Africa because they're giving up 300 million people and gaining 1.5 billion people. That's the thing that's really going to shake things up. That's what's going to shake things up. That's why I keep telling the young African brothers, you got to step up. You have to step up. If you don't step up, your life is not going to be your own. Just like the West Africans are sending you to Europe. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Europe, and India. All of Africa will be sending their people into slavery. Young people gotta take control. Not only the young people, but we diasporans, and the the financiers of the system. It's going to be needed. We have the money and the strength. When I say strength, we know how to deal with the people that Africans have to deal with. But a lot of people are waiting on the sideline. And the funny thing is that I can't disagree with them, because to move into Africa, Africans have to be prepared, and they are not. If you move into Africa now, a lot of people are going to lose their will and their money, and they're going to get pissed off and say, the hell with this, I'm not going to take this. I'm going back to where I came from. I didn't need this anyway. Because even though a lot of people talking, yeah, I'm happy in Africa, the stuff that they're dealing with, a lot of the people who have the money don't want to put up with that crap. And I'm using some words now that I don't normally use in my videos. So, if you're African in diaspora, you got to start straightening people out. When I say African, you were born in Africa now. You got to make them understand that this is the direction you got to take. And I'm ready, and my people here and wherever part of the world you are in are ready. But your mentality has to change. A lot of people are going to look at this video as if that man hates Africa, he don't know what he's talking about. But so far I've been right. So far I've been right. I told you America and the Europeans are going to be moving, trying to get out of that war, and they're going to shift the focus. Africa, America, shift the focus to Africa. You don't see it, but they're hard on South Africa now, because South Africa and BRICS. They're hard on Tanzania, Uganda, all of them. It's not accidental, this tariff thing. It's trying to pull people away from China. People look at it as though it's the resurrecting business in America, but that's only a small part of it. It's trying to pull people away from China, make China weak enough, the economy, that they can't, that Belt and Road is, just look around at African nations that are in Belt and Road and see how the infrastructure has changed. I was talking about it earlier in the video. Anyway, hope you enjoying the day wherever you are. Peace.